All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, thanks for joining us for our 3GIS product release webinar, which we're calling our latest release, Elgaria. So we appreciate you guys giving us a little bit of time during your day. We do have a mix of customers, current customers, and people who are not currently with 3GIS with us today. So I wanted to go ahead and just, briefly kind of introduce our company to those who might not know a whole lot about 3GIS. We make our software for fiber network design and planning. We also have an augmented design services team that designs fiber networks for our customers, along with some other services like data conversion. But we're just going to kind of go ahead and jump right into it today. We are scheduled for 30 minutes, so it is going to be pretty tight. Just go ahead and look at our agenda. First thing we're going to look at today is our new wavelengths tool. We do have a couple poll questions we're going to ask you guys, and we'll share those results with you. Then we're going to go over our materials list, which is something that you guys can use for feature creation. We'll look at how you guys can now associate contracts with fiber cables and other equipment. And then our splice schematics, which offers kind of a visual breakdown of the connectivity of your network. We will have some time at the end for questions and answers. If you guys do have any questions to ask us, please just put them on the questions tab you should see there on the right-hand side of your screen on the Go to Webinar toolbar. The presenter for today is going to be Shandor Bulldog. He is our project manager. Shandor, he works with customers and other people out in the telecom market to make sure that 3GIS is developing new tools that meet your guys' needs and stay ahead of the industry's needs. So with that, I'm just going to toss it to Shandor and we'll just jump right in. So go ahead, Shandor.
All right, thanks, Lance, and thank you to everyone for joining today. We appreciate your time. We won't take too much of it, but we did want to give an overview of our latest release and some of the features contained in that. This release is focused on our WebJS platform. It is certified on our GIS 10.5.1 and 10.6.1, and we are actually testing that on the 10.7.1 recent release from Esri. There are a number of enhancements in this release, as well as fixes, but we're going to focus on just a few of the major updates in this presentation. You can find a full list of updates on our knowledge base. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump right into the presentation. The first thing we're going to start with is our new wavelengths tool. So now we have added the ability to document wavelengths on port-to-port connections of equipment. This will allow you to see the wavelengths, the different channels and frequencies across the network, across the different pieces of equipment. And this is really just the first step in adding support for managing wavelengths. We're going to continue to expand upon this functionality in upcoming releases, and would love feedback from you all in terms of what you'd like to see in that area. But we'll go ahead and start with the wavelengths tool is in our telecom menu. So if we go here, it's the fourth item in the menu here, and when we select that, we'll get our wavelengths dialog here. From here, we'll select an equipment, and when we select an area, it's going to show all the fiber equipment that we have in that area. So if we go in here and put in our equipment, specify the port type and the port ID, and then we can do a search on that to see any existing wavelengths on that specific port. So this is going to give us some detail about the wavelength, the channel, circuit name, and again, this information here is configurable. So if you have certain fields that you want to see, those can certainly be added or adjusted to meet your needs. So if we wanted to add a new wavelength here, we could simply come in and click the plus button, and that's going to open the Add Wavelength dialog, and we can put in some information here, and again, this is going to be customizable to your needs, so we can specify which fields you want to see in here, which of these fields are required, the order of the fields, that sort of thing. So we'll just fill in a few of these, and then we'll go ahead and add this wavelength to this port. So once we click add there, we can now say that this channel has now been added to this specific output port on this particular piece of equipment. Now, the nice thing about this is we also have the ability to view existing wavelengths that have already been added. So if we want to go in and do that, we can search for any wavelengths that might be out on our network. And we can do that by opening the search box. Again, we can search on any of the fields in here, but if we want to do a quick search to look for an existing wavelength, then it will show up any wavelengths that have been added that match our search, and we can assign those to this particular port that we have specified. So that's going to allow you to easily assign these wavelengths to additional equipment without having to re-enter that information every time. So once you get it in there, you can easily add them and specify that across the network. We also have inline editing, so if you need to go in and make any changes, that can be done inline here, and we can update this directly in the table in your result set here. So once we've updated the information that we want, we can then click the Save button, and that's going to update that record, which again allows you for that inline editing so that you can easily update and manage that information directly from here. You can also, again, export this information. You can do that with any of our screens here where we have the tabular format, and you can quickly and easily remove wavelengths from a specific port connection. So that's done simply by clicking the delete button here and adding that wavelength, or sorry, clicking the delete button and removing that wavelength, and that will remove it from the assigned port, but it will not take it completely out of the system. So that's a really quick overview of the wavelength functionality. Again, just focused at this point on kind of documenting and getting those wavelengths assigned to equipment. Again, once you've added, you can easily assign it to multiple pieces of equipment and get this information throughout your network, and we will be looking to expand upon this functionality in upcoming releases. Now with that, I think we had a poll question we wanted to jump to, and so let's bring that up really quick.
Yeah, so the question is, are you currently managing wavelengths? And if so, what type of equipment are you using? Yes, primarily active equipment. Yes, primarily passive equipment. Or no, not currently managing wavelengths. We'll go ahead and give you guys a little bit of time to answer that for us. All right, so we'll go ahead and close that, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the results. So overwhelmingly, people said not currently managing wavelengths. So,
yep, that's interesting, and we appreciate the feedback, and it's good to know for those that are, again, the type of equipment and how you all are actively managing that. So we appreciate the feedback there. So at this point, we'll jump back in, and the next item that we're going to take a look here is our material list integration. So what this does is this basically allows us to integrate a catalog of materials for selection when creating and placing fiber equipment. So what this does, it allows you to have a better understanding of the actual equipment that is out in the field. And so rather than placing, for example, a generic 144 count cable, we can specify the manufacturer, the model, the serial number, et cetera, so that your team knows exactly what they're working with out there. So we'll look at this in terms of creating a feature. And so from our editing menu, we can select Create Feature, and we'll go in and choose a fiber cable. And once we've selected fiber cable here, you'll see a tab here for material. And this will allow us to select from certain fields that have been associated with this material catalog. Again, this is highly configurable, so if there's certain fields that you want included in here in terms of material type, serial numbers, that sort of thing, all of that can be configured based on your needs. So if we were to go in and select, say we know the specific material code we want to use, we can just choose that directly. It's going to pre-fill the information corresponding to that. So we can see here that's a 48 count cable, 4 buffers, and it is a Corning cable. Again, if we need to search on a different field, we can clear this out, and we can, if we just wanted to search on the cable count, we could do the same thing there. That's going to pre-fill some of the information. It's going to narrow it down based on the entries that we have in our material table, and then we can specify from here, okay, I know this is actually a Corning type, so again, we can narrow that down in that way. So if we go ahead and place this cable, we can see that when we commit this and add the cable, and we give that just a moment to commit here, when we go in and pull up the attributes for that cable, then we'll be able to see the, let me just move this, we'll be able to see the information that has been associated based on that material catalog. So again, we're looking at this fiber cable, and we can see that the manufacturer is Corning. We can see the material code. We can see, again, any information that we had that was configured to be stored for that specific material. This is highly configurable, both in terms of the fields available and the enforcement of using the material catalog. So you can, again, specify fields, what's required, and you can also specify whether a user must select from the material catalog, or if they can simply kind of use it as a guide for selecting, but if they don't find the right equipment in there, they can still place a generic cable or other piece of equipment based on that. And again, we can take and import your existing material catalog and get that set up for you to begin using right away with your feature creation. So that's the material list integration, heavily requested, and so we know a lot of people are excited to see that in there now. The next item that we want to take a look at is our contract attribution. So our contracts is in our main menu here, and what this allows is this is going to give us the ability to see any contracts that are associated with a particular piece of equipment. So this is similar to a tool that we had in Flex. It's new here in WebGIS, and again, it's focused on tying the contracts to pieces of equipment. So for example, if you have equipment that's leased out to a particular customer, you can put in the details of the contract, assign it to the equipment, and even you can even attach a copy of the contract to that equipment record. So we'll go in and select some equipment on the map here, and if we do that, we can see the features are loaded here in our contracts dialog. As we hover over each of these, we can see on the map which piece of equipment that is, so that as we begin to as we want to select these, we can ensure that we are selecting the right one for the specific contract. So if we add a new contract, then clicking the plus button brings up the Add New Contract dialog box. Again, this is configurable, so we can put in some information here. We can make any of these fields required. We can add and remove fields as needed. And you also, as you'll see in just a moment, you have the ability to search on any of these fields. So we'll just add a few details here about this, and go ahead and add that particular contract record. And now that has been associated with this piece of equipment. So we'll see that pop up here in our dialog box in a moment, and then we'll also see, again, where we have the ability to search for any existing contracts as well. So now we can see this contract has been added to this piece of equipment. We have details about the contract. Again, we can go in and edit those details. And again, we also have the ability to store an actual attachment or say a PDF of the contract on that related file record. If we wanted to, again, search for in a contract, it's a similar dialog box, but we have the ability to search on any of these fields that we've specified here. So if we were to look for a certain organization type that we know we wanted to add here, we can do that search and And so doing a search will allow us to find any matching records based on the field that we've searched on. So we can see that we have a couple of existing contracts here that matched on that, and we can select these for assignment as well. So we could select the contract here, and then in the lower left-hand section here, simply click Assign Contract, and it's going to assign the contract to whichever piece of equipment we have selected in the top here. So if we select Assign Contract, it's going to add it. Again, we can just as easily remove that by highlighting the contract and selecting Unassign from the menu here, and that will remove the contract from that piece of equipment. So that's, again, a good way to go in and understand the contracts that are associated with different pieces of equipment, and see how that is contracted out across your network. The next item that we're going to jump into or take a quick look at is our splice schematic. So many of you have asked for a report around schematics. We have an existing splice report that shows the connectivity in a tabular format in an Excel document, but we know many of you want to see that visually as well. So we have added in our reporting tool the ability to print a splice schematics report. So you'll see that at the bottom of the list here in our reporting tool. So if we select on that and then select splice record, it's going to show that feature here in the list, and we can select that and print that. And here we'll go ahead and show an existing view of a splice report that we have created. So again, this is just a visual diagram of the splicing and the equipment that it's connected to. You can see in here that we're showing the buffer tubes as well as the cables included in there, the details about these, as well as the details about the equipment and how those cables are connected into each piece of equipment here. On the right-hand side, we have information about the report as well as the equipment here. And this, again, this information is configurable, so we can specify certain details about the report that you may want to have included in here. And we have a standard legend to show the standard splices, pass-throughs, as you can see, any dead ends that may be shown in here. So, and this is just a way to get a quick visual representation of your existing splice connections and how that is connected up. Again, this is another item that we know was very heavily requested, and we're happy to get it out there and get feedback from you all on it. So that's a lot of the functionality that we wanted to cover here. Again, there is more in this release, and that information can be found in our knowledge base in our KB. And I think we have one more poll that we wanted to get to here, so let me just pull that up.
Yeah, so this one is, are you currently using a work order system? And if so, what is the primary function? Select all that applies. So for this one, go ahead and you can select more than one answer. Yes, primarily for tasking. Yes, primarily for audit tracking. Yes, primarily for reporting. Are not currently using a work order system. All right, so that's probably enough time. We'll go ahead and, well, first off, thanks for answering those questions for us, and take a look at these results real quick. So pretty even split there, but primarily for tasking was the top answer, followed by primarily for reporting.
Okay, great. Again, very insightful information, and we really appreciate the feedback there. It's always good to understand how you guys are actually using this out in your specific use cases.
All right, just a couple quick points to go through, and then we'll answer some of your guys' questions that you have submitted. You gotta hide the results there. Yeah, online training. So our online training is up and running for the new tools in Elgaria. So if you guys are customers, you all have access to our Quick Start online training, it's called, and I highly recommend you take advantage of it. Here on the next slide, you can see kind of see what the user interface looks like. But essentially what it is, it has videos walking you kind of step by step through all the tools and the functions within 3GIS Web, also 3GIS Mobile, Prospector, our planning tool is also included in there. And like I said, it stays up to date with every release. So our Elgaria tools are on there. If you don't have access to this yet, and you are a customer, you do have access, all you need to do is go to 3GIS.com, go to our training page, and you'll see the section for the Quick Start online training course. You just fill out a quick little form, and we will email you your login credentials. And again, I highly recommend you take advantage of that. It could really help you learn how to use all the tools we have available that could be beneficial to your workflow. And then the next thing is scheduling your upgrade. If you're a current customer, you can email Kayla Barnowski. She is our customer advocate. You see her email address there on the screen. Or you can just submit a support ticket and we will get you scheduled for your upgrade. And then for those of you who are not with 3GIS, here's our contact information. What you saw today was just, the tools we released in this last upgrade here in the last month, but you didn't see our full scope of what our software can do, and we would obviously love to show that to you and learn more about how you're managing your fiber network and the needs you have. So feel free to contact us. You see some email addresses and phone numbers for both here in the States and our office in EMEA. And 3GIS.com, you can go there and fill out a contact request form, and we will quickly get back in touch with you. So with that, I think we can go ahead and answer some of your questions that you guys submitted.
Sure. So we have a few questions here around let's see, there's one here for upgrade instructions for our Elgaria. Yes, this will be contained in the knowledge base. You will see that in there. Again, we recommend you reaching out to your customer contact and speaking to them, but the information, everything that is contained in the release, as well as instructions on upgrading, will be on the knowledge base. Will the splice schematic option be available to current 3GIS users? Yes, this is available to anyone who goes to the upgrade for Elgaria will get access to the splice schematic. So it is included to all users who do the upgrade. We have a question about converting existing data for a material list. So that's something that we'll take on I'd say a case-by-case basis, because we'll have to look at what data you have in place and how to tie that in. For example, if you have kind of a standard cable that you use for certain equipment, then we can go in and do that conversion for you. But if it's going to be something where maybe you've used a lot of different types of cables out in all throughout your deployments, then that will be something we'll have to take a closer look at to see the actual process for doing that conversion for you. But we do want to, for those that want to use the material list, we do want to help you transition to that and really get going on using that. So we're going to support you in doing that however we can. Let's see, we'll take one more here, and it looks like we actually had a couple about the wavelengths, specifically, can there be domains? And yes, that will be available, and that will be, to preserve data integrity, we'll have drop-downs coming so that you can specifically select those without any chance of incorrect data entry or things along those lines. Let's see, it looks like that's the majority of the questions. Again, a few more around, is this current add-on? Now, this is included. We just recommend that you reach out to your customer advocate about upgrading and getting moved to the newest version. They'll be happy to walk you through that process, but this is all included. It's there are no existing add-ons. It's all included with the core 3GIS product. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. We appreciate any feedback you have, so definitely reach out to us, and we're happy to discuss this in further detail, and get you any additional information that you need about the release.
Yeah. Any questions that didn't get answered, I'll reach out to you guys through email to make sure that you do get the answers to those questions. And then if you needed to see any of this again, there will be a recording that will be sent out to you through email sometime today or maybe tomorrow morning, but it's coming pretty soon. So thank you for your time, guys. We appreciate it.